Call the meeting to order. Village clerk, please call roll. All right, move time number 2. We have the BLR 14230. It's a resolution for maintenance of streets and highway and municipal under the Illinois Highway Code. So what we have here is just a resolution that allows us to go out for MFT funds in the amount of $150,000. Anyone have any questions on this one?
I don't have it.
What's that?
I do not have the document.
What's that?
I guess because it was up in there. Hold on.
First one. All right. So this is a resolution for supply for the $150,000 for motor fuel tax. Anyone else did not get their packet? All right. Any questions? All right, this will be on the agenda for next Tuesday. All right, next one is DLR 05520. This is maintenance engineering to perform by consulting engineering. This is for Robinson Engineering to represent the village. This is going after for the MFT funds. Anyone have any questions about this? All right. Hearing none, again, you guys can read it. If you have any questions, just let us know. We'll have the agenda for next week. Move to item number 4, an ordinance amendment. Yes. Item number 4, an ordinance amending section 18-29. This is the fee schedule. This is according to Article 2, Business License and Standards, Chapter 18, Business Regulations of the Village Code. And as everyone knows, our fees were increased through the health department. So they went from $60 to $100. Our ordinance was never changed, so businesses are still being charged at the $60 rate. The village has been eating the $40. So this is bringing our ordinance back up to what the health department is charging for the health inspections. You know, they just raised it. Yeah. So I think we just approved it, what, about 2 months ago? December? Okay. So, any questions on this one? All right. Move to item number 5, an ordinance amending section 78-218. This is establishment of service in section 78-222, reconnection service, to Article 4 of Chapter 78 of the Village Code. And I can talk about this one. Does anyone want to talk about this one here? The reconnection fee. Currently the charges are $10. We'll be raising them to $25. And then that's in section C. And then there is in section 3B, they're raising it from a $25 to a $50 reconnection charge.
This is one that was reviewed by the public works committee, whatever the name of that.
Because I think that isn't Trustee Burgess the one that asked for all this? With the ordinance? So this is one that Trustee Burgess presented to the Ordinance Review Committee. Ordinance Review Committee reviewed it. This Ordinance Review Committee didn't make any changes, or is it as the way he presented it? Yes.
There's another section there that on we changed. It says reconnection charge Prior it said must be paid, and now it's going to be shall be paid prior to the reconnection of services. The two changes, the price and that one word.
Okay. So, but there's no changes. The ordinance review committee accepted it as it came from the public works committee. All right, any other questions on this one? All right, hearing none. This will be on the agenda for approval next Tuesday night. Item number 6, an ordinance adding section 2-181, minimum education requirements in division 1 of article 4 of chapter 2 of the village code. And when we talk about minimum education requirements, there is, if you go to section 2, you've got, under section 2, you got for like village administrator, finance director, chief of police, fire chief, public works director, giving, again, a guideline for minimum education for those positions.
Was this changed? I mean, what was it previous?
This is in the ordinance.
So why? I'm just curious, so if it never existed, why are we doing it now? Okay.
That was brought into the committee through the village manager and recommendation of our attorney. So we should have some kind of minimum requirement for department heads to follow. The present time there is really none. At present there's none. So we did a draft of the attorney looked at it, and then what I did, I went around to each of the departments and found out their requirements through their statutes and through our stuff that they have within their department. And we came up with the minimum requirements with each one of the department heads. There is one department head missing here. It's the used to be ESDA was a volunteer department. I've heard now, since we went to Homeland, it's a full-time, am I correct, sir? Department head is a full-time person. So there will be an amendment coming that, due to the fact that I know that the Illinois Compliance statute, they did change in the department that went under the ruling of Homeland Security. They have some major minimum requirement that person has to have for that. And one of those requirements, one of those requirements is everybody has to have NEM certified. And by the way, trustees, we have to have it too. We offer that to the fire station for all the trustees and department heads. It's a online program. It's basically it's required from the government, from the Illinois, that these trustees, the mayor, and any department head that's following any kind of a grant must be NEM certified town. So that's basically in a nutshell. All that requirement is that you know what to do in case of a disaster within your town, and who you meet with, and who takes over, and so forth. So if any of you gentlemen don't have it, anytime, even day or evening, see me, I get you set up, and it's an online thing where you can go around the fire station. I believe you guys have, all trustees have to have two to meet the statute of qualifications. But anyway, there will be an amendment to this because now we recognize our ESDA group as a Homeland Security agency. And under a Homeland Security, there is a requirement. So we're going to be coming back with if this goes in, where we're coming back with an amendment to that to add him into that. Or I can pull it and just go ahead and add it to it and then bring it back to you guys. Either way, if you guys wish, I can do either way. But that's the reason it came out, is it come through the manager and the attorney, we had no basic guidelines to go by. And we always, at the time when we hired somebody, the ones that I was been involved with, we always sit there and made up our requirements before we bring a person in. Now it's now black and white. So that's how that works. So, Mr. Mayor, it's up to the trustees if they want me to table this one and take back and add Homeland Security director to it and then bring it back to them. I have no problem. Or they wish to take it to the table next week and vote on it as it is. So I'll leave it in their hands.
We just had an ordinance review committee meeting, and that's when this was presented. And one of the things that we talked about is it's been through the subcommittee, and now it's been through the standing committee, and that's the only change that we made. So we had talked about, like Trustee Meyer said, if it goes on for the agenda to be voted on for next week, then we would need to give this over to the attorneys to have a change to add the minimum requirements of 100, 200, 300, 400, and 700, and 800, which are all the ones that they would need as part of their Homeland Security, and then have that be section 2, item F, which would be added to that, and then it would be on the agenda for next week.
All right.
This would be enacted once this position becomes empty, vacant, and then a new one comes in with.
Yes, sir, you're correct.
Just so we're clear too that, again, this is a guideline. This is, if you want to call it a minimum requirement by state statute. All these positions are appointed by the mayor with the consent and approval of the village board. So, that's by state statute.
We have the statute available, the statute.
No, you can look online. State statute.
You only see state statute, there are a million state statutes. If you're using one, I don't understand why you don't have it documented which one you're using.
Because I know where to go online and look for it. I'm telling you, if you want to, go ahead.
You're such a jerk. You are.
It's available for you to go online for everyone.
You here to provide information on something you're doing. And do you want everyone to go online and research?
I'm not providing anything. This is coming from the ordinance review committee. And that's why I made sure.
And who appointed the ordinance review committee?
So, hey,
Who appointed the ordinance review committee?
every committee has the right to
Who
bring
appointed the
ordinances.
ordinance review committee?
So, just one order, can this be on the next week's agenda? Those that are going to have these amendments, we'll make sure to provide a copy of what you
Your
amended,
opinion.
and then it will be on the agenda.
So, I'm going to do my best not to be childish, so we'll move to the next.
You are a child.
So,
Put a mic in
it's
front
going
of
on the
you.
agenda. Right on the agenda.
We'll make sure that the amended copy of the item, we should not add, we should Homeland Security, and the boxes, number packets are out, make sure we kind of expedite that, so it can be on the agenda to vote on.
All right. Move to item number 7, orders amending section 277, rules and regulations concerning motions and questions to division 3, article 2 of chapter 2 of the village code. All right, everyone has this one in front of them. Changes, if I remember right, following section 2-77. Currently Sauk Village Code. This is the amending the code, and the amendment says, you guys want to do the handle this? I can read it, or you can read it, I don't care. Okay. Under section 277, says limitation on debate. No member without consent of the board or presiding officer shall speak more than once upon the same subject until every member desiring to speak has spoken. No member shall speak more than twice upon the same subject. No member shall speak longer than 5 minutes. at any time except by consent of the board. Conduct of a member during debate while member is speaking, no member shall hold any private disclosure. So currently,
That's great.
the ordinance says that no member can speak more than twice. I think I left that at the desk. So, but again, every trustee has had what the current ordinance says. It's been before you, I think the last couple meetings, it's been copied off and put before you.
That's not true. Trustee Burgess revised the public comment ordinance.
This is not public comment.
But that's what you got on this agenda.
This is not public comment ordinance we're talking
That's what
about.
you got on your agenda, so, number 8.
Agenda item.
This is for trustees.
This is for trustees.
When Trustee Burgess first started talking about, he started out talking about the public comment ordinance. That's the first thing he started talking about. And then he did some revisions to that, which were presented to this board to review. Now, I have not seen the result of that, but part of that was the complaint, I shouldn't say complaints, comments that trustees were speaking on one subject multiple times, whatever that meant at the time. And all of that was part of the revision that he had put together, which we have not seen at this board as of yet. So I don't understand why we're doing something similar, but not the same, without having both of them to weigh out which one is the better one for the good of the board. I'm confused as to why that's happening. If we have two documents which are addressing the same thing, whether it's talking on the subject matter 5 times or 20 times, and the other says 3 times to 5 times, I still think we should have both of those documents in front of us to review and to make the differences and figure out which one is in the best interest of the board.
I think you're talking about two different things. We're going to talk about the public comment ordinance next. This is about the rules and regulations concerning the motions and questions. This is to the board. If you currently look at our sections inside our code, it talks about every member previously speaking should proceed with his remarks only after being named and recognized by the chair. It says speaking twice on the same subject, no member shall speak more than twice on the same subject unless by consent of the majority of the board. What this does is it spells it out a little bit more. And it also talks about no longer than 5 minutes, any time except for consent of the board. Again, this comes from, number 1, the training and stuff that we had at IML. Number 2, it comes from complaints and stuff that we were getting from the audience about things being talked about over and over and over. It also comes from a complaint because we limit the amount of time that a village resident can speak. Why are we not limiting the time that a trustee can speak? Taking all this information in, and again, I think if you go back to mostly important what we learned at IML, this stuff goes back in here. So when you talk about section 2.77, this is not talking about public comment. This is talking about trustees. And this is just clearing up the language and adding, again, the time limit, and then clearing up, because currently, you can look at your, what we currently have. So,
But as I just stated, which I'll repeat for you, all of that, there were revisions to all you're talking about now.
this is an amendment to section
Amendment
2.77.
revision, fine. The changes that you are speaking of now have been previously addressed in documents that Trustee Burgess provided months ago. So all I'm saying is that we should have all of the documents which are saying the same or similar and find out which one, if either, works in the best interest of the board.
I think what happened was, because I remember the first time we talked about this, Mayor wasn't here that day, and that was when, one of the big, we attacked the public comment, and that was the first time that it was brought up as far as, limiting the board members as well. And from there, we've gone back and forth with public comment and this multiple times. What has happened is, everything that's been discussed has gone to the ordinance review committee, the subcommittee. What they've done is they've come back with this as a suggestion. suggestion. And then the subcommittee brings ordinance, then the ordinance review committee has to review it, which we did. And then it's brought to the board as, like the final step beforehand. So that's what this purpose is now, is to kind of review it as a board, see where we are, and then we either make suggestions and it goes back to the subcommittee, or it stands as is, and then it's voted on. So that's where we are now.
Do you know if the document that was previously created was included in the review and used to compile or create this document?
I don't know if the actual document, but the conversations and the points that were made were presented to the board of review committee, and that's how this was created. But I don't know if this is paper.
Trustee, excuse me, Randall Ruffin. Trustee Burgess did bring my attention that there's a couple of things that he has that he would like the board to look at. So in regard to after we presented this, I asked the village attorney to contact Trustee Burgess. I can't say positively if Trustee Burgess did speak to the attorney, but I know it was set up that Matt would contact him because there's some provisions that we left out that the attorney said, that statute said has to be put in there. So then he came back with this one here, and I asked Trustee Burgess, did you get a chance to speak to Matt? And he said yes. Now, I did not put it directly to him if you talked to him about this, because I know every one of the trustees talked to the attorney about some other thing or another. But I know I did ask them to speak to the attorney, and I did ask the attorney to contact him. And the outcome that the document you're talking about, I did not have that document fully in front of me, and the board looked at it. We went by what the attorney submitted to us, what we had, and what a copy of what we had on the state statute. We drew this one up. So this is, I think this is the first time this ordinance itself has came back to you guys. So like Trustee Williams said, it's out, look at it. If we want to review it some more and get the documents that Trustee Burgess had, I have no problem in doing that. Just that I know, I'd like to know which way you guys want to go with it. If you feel that we should get his documents and find them, we table it and get his documents and go over it, no problem.
Well, my concern is that we have all the information that's available to us to make a comprehensive, good working document. But if we're saying that we're going to take this document but not that document, then we're not looking at the whole picture.
I agree with you.
Figuring out what's in the best interest of the board.
I agree with you 100%. We should have all documents and review all documents that's present to finally make a decision. That I do agree with you 100%. So is it the wish of the members present to table this particular one and bring it back to you with all the documents?
Well, I think that what needs to happen is, I know that you said that you reached out to the attorney.
Yes, I did.
But unfortunately, he's not here tonight, so.
I can't.
You haven't heard from Mike to see if that conversation has happened. The next, because this is the first time that the board
Yes.
has actually reviewed this, the next step, like I said before, is to look through the review, whatever. I think that it would be prudent for the board to review it, and obviously, Mr. Burns has a packet in the box, so he can look at, because he had suggestions, I'm sure he will be able to look through it to see if there's anything that needs to be added. But that it goes back to the ordinance review committee, the subcommittees to review, and then they can take the suggestions that we made and see how it fits in, and it would come back. Because that's kind of like the process. So this, if anybody, if that's what you want to happen, then this will be on the agenda for the next week, we can go back to the ordinance review committee and their next meeting.
Mr. Mayor, at this time, I'd like to make a recommendation that this document goes back to the Order Review Committee and for further review.
That's fine.
All in agreement?
Yeah.
And just as a reminder, that goes over in general, this is amending the ordinance we already have.
Right.
This is just putting more information.
All right. So moves back to the Ordinance Review Committee for the amendment of Article 2.77. Vote item number 8, ordinance approving an amendment to the village's, to Sauk Village Municipal Code for the village of Sauk Village. It says it in there twice. Sauk Village, Illinois, public comment.
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
So this, what we kind of started talking about the last time as well. This is the ordinance that has been, we talked about it as for, I think it's now this is the fourth time it's come back. We've taken it to the Ordinance Review Committee. The Ordinance Review Committee has submitted their final draft of the ordinance, of this ordinance. And now we are at the Ordinance Review Standing Committee has reviewed it. We are prepared to present this to the board, and we're asking that this go on the agenda to vote on next Tuesday, and this will be the final copy.
One comment to that, Mr. Mayor, is that if by any chance this does get sent back to us at this time, it's been in front of my committee 3 times. I will make the recommendation, if it has to go back to us, that the Village of Sauk Village adopt the president word for word of the Illinois statute. They have a section there for public comments. And, we're going to just go back and forth with different things. I know, I believe it was the second time, don't quote me, but Trustee Tates had a couple of things that he added to it, take it to the board, and it came back, and then I believe Trustee Burgess, no, the mayor wanted a couple, I automated to it, and then we took it back then for a 3rd time, and added his stuff to it, and sent it back, and this is the final draft, and once again, if it gets sent back to us next time, I can't speak for all my board members, but I took a consensus of the members, and they said if it goes back to us again, we'll go ahead and make the recommendation that we submit and make the ordinance adopting the revised statute as our ordinance.
The revised statute is, it's a little different, it's a little more, so I think that what we discussed in our meeting earlier today is that this has kind of been around as a board, as a committee. This is the final document that's going to be presented. We're asking that it goes on the board, goes on the agenda for next week. It passes, work it. You know, take the time to review it, take the time, so when you come next week, then you will, when you're going to vote yes or no, either way. But the committee, the Ordinance Review Committee has reviewed it and taken everybody's suggestions, and this is the 4th time it's being presented to us as this committee, as a board, and there's nothing else that they are suggesting that they're going to change. So at that point, the Ordinance Review Committee and the Ordinance Review process is kind of taken out of it. There's nothing more that we can do.
So what we discussed, is not state statute, is that what you're saying?
So you have the ability to go to follow state statute, you have the ability to make it, to alter it. And at this point, based on what we as a board have discussed, that's what we take into the ordinance review. Okay? We've done that. As far as time limits, as far as topic limits, things like that. This is what has been presented, and the ordinance review committee does not feel that they can bring anything back to the board. So they're asking that we, as a board, either accept it or deny it, which would be up to the board's personal discretion, however we vote next Tuesday. And then at that point, it's not, we're not going to take it to another step. Like we just talked about the trustee ordinance, as far as the titles and everything like that, we just said, make your suggestions, we'll bring it back. We've done that multiple times with this ordinance. So after the 3rd time, there's no more that they can do. So at this point, the only place for it to go is on the agenda to vote on. It's going to be yes, it's going to be no. And then from there, we'll have to come back with some other kind of way or let it lie for a while and wait till something new happens, some
So 5 minutes was above state statute?
We have to we have to abide by statutes. We either make it tougher or we have to be equal to the statute. This is equal to the statute. The statute itself has a couple of things in it that is more stringent, like for instance, the time frame is a little different than what we got here. But we comply with what the state statute has. Now, the statute adds a lot more stuff to it when it comes to public comments. What we ask the attorney to do is pull a couple sections out of it. For instance, if you notice in the ordinance, may have noticed in the ordinance that each person will give their name prior to addressing the board. If any individual failed to yield the floor after the expiration of their allotted time, otherwise act unruly, use any racial or otherwise discriminatory comments, or show disrespect to the mayor or the board members, the mayor may direct the chief of police or his designee to have the individual removed from the meeting. Now, under statute, it goes a little deeper. The president or the mayor or whoever in charge of the meeting, they can actually have the person tuck in and charge with some. I no way will I write an ordinance to have a resident of this town arrested for something he says. That's ridiculous. The statute, basically statute says that it can happen. I don't like the ordinance for having a resident of this town arrested just for speaking out that he and a little angry about a street light that's out. No, I won't do that. No. But it abides by it, but the Illinois compliance statute, it's a lot more to it, and it has a lot of different penalties to it. We don't have a penalty other than ask the person to leave the room. That's all we have. No, that's it.
Trustee Myers, when the last document that I saw was presented, there are only two things that needed modification. One was changing 3 minutes to 5 minutes, and the other was to allow the residents to speak on any topic at any meeting. Those are only two things. So if the ordinance committee did more than that, then you, by right, you exceeded what the recommendation had been to make the revision. So now it appears that we have something that may be totally different than what we had seen last time.
Okay. The first time it came in front of you, it had 3 minutes on it, and you're 100% correct. You requested for 5 minutes, all right? Then went back, we had the second one that came out front to the board had 5 minutes on it. And there was a couple of items, and I'm not sure which trustee or the mayor, but it was sent back. So the third time back in there, the committee decided we'll go 3 minutes, all right? Once again, trustee, you wasn't the only input in here. I had a couple other trustees input, and as a matter of fact, I had to input all my committee members that we look at. So we don't judge our ordinances by one person said that it needs to be put in there. But I do remember draft, I almost remember draft two did have 5 minutes in it, and it was sent back for other review. And every time, and I asked the trustee that night, trustee, now when it goes back in front of my committee, it may come back totally different. I'm only the chairperson, and the committee, they voted on this, and this is what we voted on presented. Now it's back at 3 minutes. So once again, every time it gets back to her, it can have long stayed within the confinements of the Illinois compliance statutes. It could be different one way or the other. So,
May I make a suggestion? We have two documents. One is for trustee comment, if I can say that. And they don't speak more than a couple of times on the subject. And the other is for the public, for the residents. Since both of these involve comments made by either party, we're sending one back. Why not send both of these back, since they deal with comments being made? Why not send both of them back and get it done? I disagree with it, and I think you kind of mentioned that we altered the statute. I'm not sure that's true. But send both of these back for one final do-over. I mean, I don't think we have to say, well, either you vote for it or you don't vote for it. We would like it to be voted on by all the trustees and accepted by all the trustees. So, but I think we have to give something that's palatable, something that they can utilize.
Right. I think that the difference in between those two ordinances is that, one, this is okay, so for the trustee one, it's already on the books. We're suggesting an amendment. This is the first time that the amendment is discussed, which is why we asked the ordinance committee to look at it, it was presented. This one, the public comment one, has been discussed ad nauseam, both here and there. And I agree with you. I think that anytime anything is placed on the agenda, it would be in the best situation of the village for it to be passed unanimously. If everything, if all the trustees and the board as a whole could agree to pass different items. Unfortunately, we know that that's not happening. Unfortunately, we don't have our own opinion, so that's fine. But what I mean is, this is gone back and forth. There's two items of contention, and that would be the time limit, and that would be the content limit. Those have been the same two items of contention that have been addressed every single time it's gone back and forth. So I think at this point, there's nothing left to do. If we go back, these are the suggestions of the board of review. This is the final draft. If we take it back, we're going to submit the exact same thing again because this is their suggestion. So at this point, we need to vote on it. It needs to be either approved or it needs to be shut down. Because once it's shut down or approved, then we can move on. We can't keep asking them to revise the same document because it's just those two items of contention that it's not going to change.
But, see, I disagree with you on that because the ordinance committee or subcommittee developing this document has nothing to do with it in reality. If the contention, the bone of contention is about 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever that is, that's amongst the trustees. That can be discussed and resolved sitting here amongst the trustees, and we'll tell the ordinance committee, this is what we have as trustees. Not wait for the trustee, for them to come and tell us what they've done. We're going to give them the guidance. This is what we can live with. This is what we can vote on. This is what we support. And I think that makes the ordinance committee and subcommittee's job a lot easier when the trustees are on the same page.
But that's the problem we're not.
But we've never discussed it as
Yeah, we have. We talked about this.
Absolutely not.
At least 4 times. And
No.
we are not in consensus as a board of 3 minutes versus 5 minutes. We're not in consensus as a board as a topic, the topic content. That's why it's gone back and forth. That's why it started off, we had the very first meeting, and I remember because I was the chair of that meeting. We started off with specific things. It went back. When it came back, we went from 3 minutes to 5 minutes. That was the second time it was presented. When it came back, because I was talking about let the chips fall where they may, because there's nothing more we can do.
Well, I disagree that it's been discussed 4 times. I have not missed a meeting, and it has not been discussed 4 times amongst the trustees. Now, if you start getting the ordinance committee, a subcommittee involved, then yes, it could have been discussed 50 million times. But here's the thing. If I, as a trustee, say, this is what I want to see, and I submit it to you guys as an ordinance committee, and you go over that, and you submit it back, and then another trustee says, this is what I want to see. You having closed door input. Instead of sitting here at the table and say, okay, trustees, let's talk about the time and get that resolved amongst the trustees sitting here. So when you see it on the ordinance committee, you know ahead of time it's been approved. Basically agreed upon, I should say.
But the problem is that the board can't come to a decision. I'm assuming here, but you were in favor of 5 minutes. I am not. As a board, we cannot come to an agreement. And I'm just taking 2 trustees, I'm not going to do a consensus or anything, because that's not appropriate. But that's what I'm saying. That's why we've gone back and forth as a board, because we have a different opinion. The only way to stop that going back and forth is an actual vote. And with the vote, that gives you the opportunity. So if it stays like this, and you do not agree, because the ordinance right now doesn't say that. If you do not agree with that, you will show your disagreement by voting no. If it fails, if 4 trustees say no, then the ordinance fails. And then we keep with, we have no ordinance on record. We keep with whatever the agenda says right now, because there's nothing that's ironclad. If the agenda, if it passes, then this becomes, a part of our record. But there's no, I don't know that we're going to get a consensus by talking about it. Somebody's going to have to break down and finally say, fine, I'm going to talk about it, whatever, I can see you.
No, that's not true. Because let's use your example. You said 3, I say 5. If you can show me, demonstrate and through conversation that your 3 minutes, let residents speak 3 minutes only, is better than 5 minutes, then I would gladly say, I buy your opinion, and I would give in to that. I'm not going to stand fast to it. If you can show me your 3 minutes for residents to speak is better than my 5 minutes for residents, I will back off of it, and I say, fine. So it's not that we dig a hole and say I'm not coming out of the hole. If you can just show me that your idea is better than my idea, I'd be willing to say, fine, and I concede to that. But we've never had that conversation where we all discussed it.
I think we've gone back and forth, and we've got a recommendation coming from the Ordinance Review Committee for it to go on the agenda. I think we put it on the agenda, let the trustees vote, and just like it says, if it passes, it passes. If it does not, it does not pass. And then, maybe go back, to something else. But again, we already have something in place that we're currently using.
Mr. Mayor, final out of it. I did at the last meeting, I asked at this table here, I said, trustee, please send me your comment. I received a comment from trustee Tate. That's the only comment I received, which way he went, and he did mention those were the items that he did submit. But the rest of the trustees, I did not receive anything from the rest of the trustees. So, that's...
Right, so I would say go ahead and put this on the agenda, not on consent, but we hope for a vote for next week. All right? Move to item number 9, public comments. All comments, questions or comments must be directed to the mayor. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to comment on topics of their choice. Each speaker will be allowed 1 opportunity to speak.
Larry Stewart, Sauk Village, Stock Clock.
Chicago Heights.
I like these healthy.
Hang on. Ladies and gentlemen of the audience, I'm going to ask everyone, please keep your comments to yourself so that everyone can be heard. This is, if you want something you want to say, you will have the opportunity, like everyone else, to come to the microphone. So I heard some comments when you first started speaking. I'm going to ask that you please keep your comments to yourself so everyone in the audience Can't hear. Your 3 minutes hasn't started. I'll let you start it. You ready? Now it starts.
I'm on. I'm listening to this. As it stands, the board is shutting down the people on their 3 minutes. I'm going to try not to go over mine. I usually don't. But I'm looking at it, now we're challenging each other on the board on whether they should speak longer or shorter. These things are bad, but I'm not here to look at what I say is going to make any correction, because you all are at odds with each other. You already got 4-3, ain't nothing changed since the last election. But I will tell you this, they will. We have another election coming. I will be beating the streets. We will win. So those that are in bad positions, take your position, because point blank, we will beat you up. Thank you.
All right. All right. All right.
Make it record.
You know, all right. Everyone has their opinion, okay? So, well, I don't feel threatened by Larry, trust me. Go ahead, next.
Thank you, Mayor. My name's Ed Sullivan. I'm a member of the Parks and Recreation and also Neighborhood Watch. I'm asking, on this paper here, we have a document stating who can use this community center and who can't. Now, I was the understanding that in the back where maybe 10, 12 years ago, that trustee of anything can go into a building and not have to worry about them being ridiculed by them or have to pay. And a trustee should be allowed to go into a building and have a program delivered and not have to worry about anything being said about it. Also, I'd like to thank you, Mayor, for the Dr. Rose pushes. That's all I'd like to have an answer to that, why we have it like this with the Parks and Recreation.
I don't have an answer to your question right now, so I'll have to get back to you on it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mary Todd, I have a question. Last week we were talking about the lights over at Fairway, and Mr. Mayor, you said you would not be afraid to go there after dark, but as a woman and having children, I have to tell you, I would not go there after dark for fear of safety, and I certainly wouldn't send my children there. Also, I'd like to announce that the breast cancer Relay for Life is coming up. They're having a kickoff party at the community center January 29th. Everyone is invited. Admission is free. Food and water will be available for purchase. The Relay for Life will happen Friday, May 13th at Bloom Trail, starting at 7 p.m. is the opening ceremony. There are flyers on that table. If everybody who's passed the word along, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
What was the date on the first one? Kickoff.
January 29th, and that's at the community center starting 6:30? Yes, 6:30. Okay.
My question is, can non-residents speak at these meetings?
Yes.
If they don't live in Sauk Village, I just want to go on record.
Yes.
Anyone, if they don't live in the village, they can still come and speak on the mic if they have a concern.
Correct. It's a public meeting. Next.
My name is Judy Cass. I'm the president of People Looking for Answers Now, commonly known as the Sauk Village Plan Group, along with Mr. Nathan Griffin, president of the Sauk Village Citizens for Public Awareness, SVCPA. Would like to submit the following petition. No comments or responses requested or needed at this time. This is a letter of no confidence. On behalf of the Sauk Village non-for-profit citizen group, People Looking for Answers Now, the Sauk Village Citizens for Public Awareness, we, the Sauk Village residents, are submitting this petition of no confidence to Mayor David Hanks, the Village Board of Trustees, and Village Clerk Debbie Williams, which will be further referred to as this administration. 652 residents have expressed that they no longer have confidence in this administration to carry out financial obligations or make choices that are in our best interest. This administration's lack of transparency, accountability, and the continued mismanagement of taxpayers' dollars have led to an atmosphere of speculation, mistrust, and the arrest of a village employee. Even though this administration's first priority should be to ensure the health, safety, and welfare for all, we, the residents, have been repeatedly intimidated and threatened with legal action for exercising our constitutional rights to ask questions and comment on the issues that affect the day-to-day activity of the village. In order to gain access to municipal information that should be transparent and readily available to all, residents and trustees alike have been forced to file Freedom of Information Act requests. The response has been delayed, vague, elusive, or flat out denied. With that being said, I yield the floor to Mr. Griffin.
Start for 3 minutes again.
I'm Nathan Griffin, president of the Sauk Village. And comments or response is not required. I'm going to continue where Ms. Cass. This administration has repeatedly and willingly violated the residents' civil rights, using intimidation and harassment by denying ethical access to Sauk Village's government buildings. Present and new policies support an atmosphere of mistrust, exclusion, and racialism against residents. This administration fails to address the village's financial and environmental problems have only added to the deterrent of Sauk Village residents' quality of life. We, Sauk Village residents, demand that this administration adhere to the will of the people by making changes or revisions to all necessary village ordinance, policies, and practice that affect the official standing of the village as a municipality, the running of the village's daily operations and services provided to its employees and residents. I yield the floor to Mr. Frank Hardy.
3 minutes.
Frank Hardy, 2926, 223 plan. We asked the board, number one, to create and adopt policy or ordinance to stabilize and ensure the financial health of Sauk Village, as suggested by the auditing firm and the representative. We solicit input and adopt, number two, solicit input and adopt a balanced and realistic annual budget to be considered and approved by the full board of trustees. Number three, discontinue mismanagement of federal and state grants. Number four, we ask you to discontinue the practice of wasteful spending and expenditure. For an example, $12,500 electronic dollars on electronic sweep, $11,377.15 in travel gain, and $1,846 OMA violation. Number five, provide open, honest, and transparency to the residents of all municipal business including detailed analysis of expenditure of their tax dollars. Number 6, considering the lack of service, we review, monitor, and reduce excessive overtime. For example, the police department has spent over $260,000 on overtime. And the public works has spent over $61,000 on overtime. Number 7, this allows for profit organizations to use of municipal buildings free of charge. Specifically, USFD. I give the floor to Mr. James Hopkins.
3 minutes.
James Hopkins. No further comment, response is needed. We further ask that this administration, number 8, discontinue unauthorized transfer of monies from the water fund to pay bills and pay employee salaries. Number 9, discontinue the authorization of immediate checks being written without public oversight and consent and approval of the entire board of trustees. Number 10, monitor and provide management oversight of department's budgets. Number 11, monitor and provide management oversight of the village's sanction committee, bylaws, policies, activities, and monetary transactions. Number 12, make available the village's agent reports and monitor non-payment of critical services required by its residents. Example, unpaid invoices for bus ambulance service and dispatch wildline charges. Number 13, make available to the public the following reports: the collector's report, the accounts payable report, and the accounts receivable report. Number 14, adhere to the approved fiscal year budget. Make necessary amendments to its current appropriations funding and secure the consent and approval of the entire board of trustees before hiring new employees. An example, J.W. Fairman and 3 records clerks, and entering into major no-bid contract purchases. I yield the floor now to Ms. Hayes.
Hey, just so you know, Mr. Harvey, the reports that you've asked to make available, they're online. So,
No comments needed at this time.
what did we say?
This is not a debate.
The financial report? Okay. Just making sure, I didn't know if you knew or not. Yes.
Hi, my name is Winona Ayers. No comments or responses needed. We further ask that this administration adhere to the following regards to business relating to Olson and Sturks Law Firm and Robinson Engineering. Number 15, eliminate the exorbitant fees paid by taxpayers for the review of FOIA requests, Freedom of Information Act. Number 16, provide oversight and review of all professional services, invoices, billing rates, and summary of services prior to issuing payment. 17, eliminate excessive use of professional services by appointing a SPOC, specific point of contact. 18, monitor all federal grants and review all payments and invoices. 19, provide open, honest transparency to residents of all municipal business, including detailed itemization of expenditures. Okay. 20, devise a plan that will reduce the amount owed over $2.2 million while making steady contributions to the police and fire pension funds. I yield the floor to Mr. Robert Farrell.
Good evening. I'm speaker number 4, and my name is Robert Farrell. No comment or response is needed. We further ask that the administration adhere to the following with regards to the employees. Number 21, minimize employees' lawsuits by creating or revising Sauk Village Municipal Employees Handbook. Number 22, discontinue the practice of publicly discussing employees' work performances. Number 23, eliminate employees' taxable fringe benefits, that's the use of government cars, telephones, and submit SF 1099 to the IRS for the use of all government equipment. Number 24, allow the village department heads to communicate with the trustees and the residents during visit hall normal working hours. Number 25, disallow excessive overtime to the police, public works, and considering the service provided does not meet the needs of the village. I yield the floor to Ms. Dolores Randall.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dolores Randall. No comments or response is needed. As we further ask that this administration adhere to the following points with regard to the infrastructure in Sauk Village. 26, provide the entire board and residents with a detailed plan and appropriation to address the village's major infrastructure repairs. Example, inoperable fire hydrants, water main breaks, street lights, leak survey, roads, and so forth. 27, provide detailed reports that show any and all funds used for infrastructure repairs or replacements. Number 28, develop and present detailed plans to address the residents' past referendum to obtain Lake Michigan water. I yield the floor to Joe Arias.
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Trustees. My name is Roger J. Arias, and no response to comments is needed. We further ask that this administration commit to the following with regard to purchasing. Number 29, adhere to the guidelines of the village purchasing manual when soliciting bids and accepting contracts. Example, purchase of $93,000 in computer equipment, $145,000 to Backman and Woodman, and $200,000 for software without full board approval. Number 30, eliminate the practice of waiving the open bid process. Number 31, stop the disrespectful public interaction with residents and stop threatening residents with arrest or legal action against them. Number 32, stop the practice of using the police chief as sergeant at arms at village meetings. The mayor should maintain order and decorum. Number 33, provide a timely release of village committee and village board meeting minutes on a consistent basis. Number 34, review the address technological needs to be able to conduct village meetings via electronic access and conference call. Number 35, conduct public meetings to provide detailed budgetary information to residents before voting on new tax levies. Number 36, stop discriminating against residents based on race, color, creed, political association, or economic social status. Example, not allowing certain residents to use the village's public buildings in the same manner as others. I yield the floor to Ms. Brewer.
3 minutes.
Bernice Brewer on behalf of Sauk for the Citizens Awareness. Also want to submit a copy of the 36 guidelines we have to each trustee, so you can follow along.
You can get to the village clerk, just pass it out. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, you have held this office for almost 4 years. However, you have had control of the Sauk Village finances for over 8 years. In your arrogance, you have condoned and support racism, intimidate and harass residents, employees, and the trustees as well. In addition, use our tax dollars for your own personal ATM. It is evidence that this village is not prospered, has not prospered in the last 8 years, and is moving in the wrong direction. We ask that you address these issues by the next business day or be prepared to resign. I yield the floor to Francine Anderson. Only one page, back and front. What, they need more copies?
Right.
Mr. Mayor, I am Francine Anderson, and I am offering the conclusion. I have one comment to ask at the end of my presentation. Mr. Mayor David Hanks, it is my pleasure to render the closing to this no confidence petition. These 652 signatures represent the number of votes that you were elected by in April of 2013. When you won that election, you stated that you were stepping up to be a savior, to be a servant. You have proven to have done neither. Because of this administration's history, I'm offering this disclaimer. The petition is being presented with the signatures redacted, mainly because we want to protect the identity of the residents that signed these petitions. 2, to prevent you from intimidating or harassing those residents, and as well as to uphold our mission to provide information that will enhance the health, safety, and welfare of the residents. Therefore, the residents want you to know that we're serious and we're very clear about the mission ahead of us. We, the residents of Sauk Village, have made some strong statements today. Your leadership of this government is in question. We have copiously outlined and presented the issues. So now we are requesting, demanding, and expecting you to pay close attention to those issues. Use them to initiate change and to offer some respect to every issue cited in this petition of no confidence. Mr. Mayor, I, Francine Anderson, would like to present those petitions to you now. So the only comment, sir, is can I move forward to present those petitions?
You can present to the clerk.
Thank you. For public record, the mayor said I can present them to the village clerk, not to him. Action soon, sir.
Next.
Good evening, my name is Jimo Kasali. I'm a resident of Sauk Village since 1995. That makes it a little over 20 years. And I'm on the school board I'm the most senior member of the school board, keeping eyes on everything over there. I just would like to express that I'm not happy tonight to see all that is going on. I hope when there is a problem, it can be fixed. So I hope and pray that our village can move forward and things that needs to be fixed is fixed. Thank you.
Next.
Mayor Hanks, I'm one of the neighborhood watch participants here today, several are here. And I'm wavering from all the ordinances that you've got, but that's something else. As you know, last year, Trustee Washington had this book bag drive for the youth in Sauk Village. And she's continuing forward with this year with an additional plate. And what we would like to know, is the village, or has the village set aside any accommodation for her to progress in this book bag drive this year?
Your own question?
Yeah.
As of right now?
Yeah.
Nothing has been put to the side.
Well, can something be done to get a conclusion to this, so she knows, and so and the rest of the residents and
Well, she'll know pretty soon. We got a budget. That's going to be, we're going through a budget shortly, so.
I mean, do you need a budget just to get a room for an accommodation where she can have this?
Or are you talking about accommodation?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about monetary.
No, we're not talking about that.
So, yeah, we'd have to talk. I mean, I don't know at this point.
There you go. Thank you.
Next.
Rose Langston, longtime resident, Sauk Village. I just wanted to let you know on the positive side, our senior committee has started our every Friday open senior activity where there is no meeting, no membership required, and no dues. We are having an open house for Sauk Village seniors on January 29th. We're here every Friday from 12:30 to 3:30, thanks to our coordinator, Steve Shimkus and Frank Williams. There's light refreshments served, and we have lots of games available, and there are flyers in the back for those who wish to attend. Thank you.
Okay. Next.
My name is Pat Couch. It was brought to my attention this morning that one of the trustees posted something on Facebook or wherever, and I'd like to read that, and then I have a response, if that's okay.
3 minutes.
This is from Calvin Jones. I think it is an insult to believe that you giving material things away is supplying a community with the proper tools to grow. It wouldn't benefit anyone long-term if everyone in the community was given a material gift. Some of the best gifts are being responsible, respectful, honest, and transparent leaders. It's sad that some of the elected officials are abusing their positions for politics. Some of the political diversions and do what the people elected you to do. The people did not elect you to campaign on their dime. I find it an insult that saying that giving away free things to employees when many of the people sitting in this room stood in line to get those freebies, whatever they might be. They were donations from many of the people in this room. They were working hard to do things for the children of this community. And I find it rather an insult to think that all these years that, let's say, trustee or clerk Debbie Williams, many years before you were ever a trustee, worked very hard with the Girl Scouts, and many other organizations to do the things that she does to give to the children at Christmas time, at Easter time, and many other times throughout the year. I don't know what you plan to do. I don't know where your volunteers are, but many of us in this room have volunteered many times to do things for the benefit of the children and the members of these communities. And I do hope that most of these people that took those freebies will think now, maybe I shouldn't take that freebie. It's not, nobody asked for a vote. Nobody asked you to get up and say, hey, stand by me, I'm going to give you something free for a vote. This is not what these people do. We volunteer out of the goodness of our heart. Just as such as Mrs. Washington gave her book bags away. Those were all volunteer people that donated, and we will continue to donate unless we feel that maybe we shouldn't, because we're going to be ridiculed for giving from the bottom of our heart to the children of this neighborhood. I don't have any kids here. I have no grandkids here. I'm still going to give if I see fit.
Back to 3 minutes, sir. Back to 3 minutes.
The thing of it is that, one number 95, I forgot about that, one number 95. What I'd like to say is this, you know, I feel a lot of stuff going on, I was doing anything different things like that. What I would really like to see, is the people that stood up here tonight and read all the stuff that they want the village to do and how to do it, is to put themselves in a different position to try to help do something instead of trying to sit up there telling about you should do this and you should do that. I mean, when I stood there and looked at those papers that they was reading from, if they were able to do that themselves, I applaud them. But I guarantee you they didn't do it themselves because every one of the papers had a red line on the top of it, which means that it was programmed for them to say, that is not your own statement. When you stand up here at night, you're supposed to be giving your own statement, not what somebody else told you to say. So thank you.
Next. All right. All right, listen. Next.
Hello, Your Honor.
Yes,
My name is Alan. I'm a non-resident, okay? I'm a business person in this town. And I feel the, how would you put it, the audacity of a trustee coming in and threatening my business. Okay? You guys are public officials. Yes, I did not vote for you guys. I don't live in this town. But you guys are representing the people to my left, the people to my right. You represent them. You don't go into a business, you don't strong arm them, you don't threaten them about closing their business and everything else like that. You bring it to the attention of the board, okay? And I have not heard any kind of responses as to where it's going from here, okay? I, as a business person in this town and everything else like that, would like to know what the resolution is or what's going to be done. And I believe that the ethics committee, if there's one here in this town, should take a look at it. Because I don't believe that a trustee or any official has the right to go into a business, threaten them that they're going to shut it down, they're going to close them down, they're going to call the Board of Health, they're going to do all this other stuff, because I'm not going to bow down to them. I don't bow down to anybody. I will not bow down to anybody. I was raised a different way, maybe some ways different than anybody else around here. But you know what? My ethics are a lot more higher, and I have more respect for myself than to walk into some place and offer my condolences and everything else like that. As I say, if you don't do what I say, you're done. Thank you, sir.
All right, I'll respond to Steve. I'll respond in my own time. I see no one's coming to the podium, so now we will go to miscellaneous business. Trustee Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm just going to kind of go over the budget finance committee that we had a meeting today. And I know at the last board meeting, there were suggestions that were made by the board to have us do some things. So I just kind of want to make the board know that we are in the process of following those suggestions. Like I said, we did meet today. We did discuss the 2015-16 budget where we are. So we are hoping that at the February meeting, we will be able to go over that at the committee and hopefully then we will be able to project that to the board. I will say, and I've stated in the last couple of months, I don't know what February will look like for me, and as the chair of that committee, I can't tell you when the budget finance committee is going to meet in February, but I'm hoping that we will be meeting in February, we will be able to present that to you guys at the time. We also discussed, as was heard, another suggestion, the 2016-17 budget, and where we are in that process. And we all know, Mayor prepares the budget and then presents it to the board. So we will hopefully, because I'm assuming everybody knows, that our fiscal year starts May 1st. So it is our hope that we will be able to present that at the committee. We did review the aging report, or we talked about the aging report, and Trustee Tate asked, we did ask for a copy of that, and we also asked for the finance
mic, Rosie, please.
As, talks about the new accounting system. Mohan did go over the accounting system, the civic system that we have, and specifically the question that we talked about with the, writing things, scratching things out and rewriting it, and how he's not able to adjust that once it's in there. He said that he did contact Civic, which is the company that we utilize, and they don't have a program that would be able to correct that. And that programs that would be able to correct that may not be compatible with our system. We did ask, so he didn't go further into research, but we did ask him today to go further into research. And I told him that I wanted actual numbers as far as if we need a new system, how much is it going to cost? If that means that we have to update our computer system, and because you know the system is used up front, it's used in the finance director's office, it's used in the accounts payable's office, so that may require a lot of updating to computer software, but that since the board asked for it, I wanted the actual numbers, and that the board would be able to weigh the cost versus the benefit of updating. So we're hoping that that's something that we can present after February.
Is that it?
Question. And we have an IT person that's here in the village. It appears to me, from looking at, we're talking about the write-outs, the scratch-outs, that incorrect information is being put in that causes the scratch-outs. If he added, and I'm thinking of this, an IT person can talk better, if he's adding 2 + 2, and he puts in 5, and then has to scratch it out and change it to 4, that comes from faulty input. Has nothing to do with the system. So it appears to me that he may be inputting information incorrectly into the system, which then causes him the problem to have to go back and to line out things and re-add them. And I can recall a couple of meetings where a couple of trustees, to include yourself, added up the figures, and we all came up with different answers because we were doing it on our own. I think it's a matter of input more than anything else, and I would like to see our IT person to take a look at that and maybe monitor him, or someone needs to monitor him. Maybe Mr. Fairman could do that. Monitor the input. If you put junk in, you're going to get junk out.
The problem that we had last time was for a payment. The problem is that Lawrence was wrong. He can't adjust for partial payments. There was a bill that was low, $300,000 to Gallagher. We made it partial payment. He reflected the partial payment, but in the system, he can't input the partial payment. It's either, so if he puts $102,000, which is what we paid, it's not able to reflect as a partial payment because it still shows the balance. Because it still shows the balance, it's still on, it won't reflect the balance. So that's what I asked him about. He said that the system doesn't allow. Now, that the system we had is the exact same system from quite a while. It does not surprise me that maybe that's not a proper way. We need to talk about ways to kind of prevent that instead of scratching out, whether that be additional documentation, things like that. But I said, regardless, I wanted him to review other systems and come back to us as a committee, which then we could present to the board. Because I did ask him about, is it just human error? Is it miscommunication between accounts payable versus finance director, because they have to work in tandem, but they work separately. So if there's miscommunication, then human error will fall into play. He assured me that that's not the case. So hopefully, like I said, we'll be discussing it, we'll present it to the board, and then we can go from there. But the IT, I don't know that the IT would be able to, is familiar with the civic system, but it is something that we need to do.
You know, and one other thing, because I've discussed this issue with other communities, and their finance people are not encountering the problems that we have here in Sauk Village. So, if it's systematic, if I grab an old system, that's one thing. But absolutely no one showed, I saw the documents from several of them, and no one have scratch outs and line outs and all that stuff on their financial information. So I think it's something that we're doing wrong internally that needs to be addressed so that we'll better know. Because as of right now, with the scratch outs and stuff, I'm not sure there's any trustee can say they know how much money we have anywhere because of the scratch outs. We don't know if that's an actual number, something that was made up. We just don't have, the information available. Piggybacking on that a little bit, if you're working on the next budget, I still have concerns when I talked about last week, and I gave you small examples of payments that were 160 days or something of that nature. And I still have concerns when we have delinquent bills for minimal amounts of money. Yeah. Could you hold up a minute, please? Excuse me, could you try to hold on for a minute? I can't hear her because she's talking.
But we need to have the back door closed because we can't hear any of you. Thank you.
Disrespectful to her.
You have anything else? Okay, trustee, go ahead. Your turn.
The gentleman, I believe, that was here, the business owner.
You want the business owner? Did you say you want the business owner? Oh, he's still in the hall. You want to see him, man? You just want to talk to him. Business owner?
Sir, I may want to ask you to come back in. And I'm a little concerned by some of the statements that you made earlier. Did anyone from the village reach out to you and say, let's talk about the situation or anything of that nature?
I've had somebody reach out to me, but I don't know what the capability, capacity is as far as the village. Mr. Williams, he approached me tonight and told me not to discuss anything because they were going to try and set up a meeting tomorrow with my general manager at that business. And I called my general manager and nothing other. So I'm getting told not to say nothing tonight in front of everybody, not to say anything because they're going to have a meeting tomorrow. I called my general manager for my business and there's no recollection of any kind of meeting being set up tomorrow.
Why is Mr. Williams, I'm asking a question.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. So, no, what qualification Mr. Williams, are you qualified as a mediator to resolve this? No, my question was, were you qualified?
She and I have a meeting tomorrow at 6:30. Why? She was going to say she would meet you with me and on the Washington at 6:30. That is the response I got from her.
My question is, are you qualified to mediate this dispute? No, sir. What qualifications? Number one, this thing was discussed in executive session.
Whoa.
And she gave out documents in executive session, so I don't know how human relations got involved in it. Because it should have stayed in the back room. That's where she gave out her documents at. So I don't know who gave you the documents if you have them. But I know they were given out in executive session. Well,
Let me get your chance.
well, okay, if she had a dispute with any business owner, and she wrote the trustees and the mayor letters about that dispute, it was discussed in executive session because I was back there and it should have stayed back there, which means you should have never been involved. And I don't know who told you about it, but that's a violation of executive session. And Mr. Mayor, when I first came on board, you said the trustees were revealing information from executive session and was going on Facebook before we get out the room. That's exactly what you said. Now here's a situation where this trustee had a situation that came up in executive session that should have never left that room because you said you weren't going to get involved. So someone in that room, and Mr. Williams, you may or may not say who, someone had to give you that information. You gave him the information? No, I'm just saying that if in fact it was an executive session topic, then it should not have been made public, or we could have discussed it out here.
That's right.
We didn't need to go in the back room. We could have stood out here and you could have read your letter since he said you gave it to him. We could have stood out here, you could have read your letters and everything else. If something is executive session material, it should stay in that room. It's as simple as that. Yes, sir?
No,
Absolutely.
no.
I'm sorry, no, you can't speak.
Do you have anything else, Trustee?
Oh, don't like that in the room, huh?
Trustee? Hey, don't go nowhere, 'cause I'm gonna answer your question when I get my comments.
Well, I was bullied by the same trustee
Whoa, wow.
with Parks and Recreation. There's a policy with Parks and Recreation. I did not sign off on the policy. This trustee took it upon her own self and to get keys without my permission or my knowledge of anything. If I'm the chair of Parks and Recreation, I would have thought that I would have had some type of communication with it, but I didn't. And I did not sign off on that because there are too many days that the community center is being rented out. The community center is being rented to make money, and you clearly said that, trustee, that it was to make money, and you want to cut in on time that the community center is being used. If you wanted to communicate with me a little bit better instead of just doing things above whatever you want to do and push everybody around, if I'm going to be in charge of Parks and Recreation, please let me be in charge of Parks and Recreation. If you want to come to the committee, you didn't even present anything to the committee to have anything said or any days available or anything. I did not sign off on the application. You are there illegally.
All right.
That's what is meant by that. You trustees sanctioned by the village, they do have the right to use whatever building they want to. That's fine. But you have to abide by the rules. There is a scheduling, and anything that comes in as far as Parks and Recs comes before any freebies.
All right. All right. Get them, y'all.
Next.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, this is just like a really big ploy to deface my character because it's no secret that I'm aspiring for a certain office.
You're doing it yourself.
And second of all, that's disrespect right there. You relinquish
That's
that,
nice.
now it's my turn.
Trustees, come on now.
And you should resign off the committee as co-chair because you're diverting a lot of people from attending Parks and Recreation. They don't like your aura that you bring to the community center.
First of all, as I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted.
And I'm going to continue to be rude until you leave.
Trustee, she's got the floor, trustee. You're out of order, trustee.
That's right.
Jones, you're out of order. Trustee Washington, you have the floor.
And Mr. Mayor, I'm out of order because you allowed this to be out of order. You should have handled this when you had a chance. This could have been rectified a long time ago. You went above me and didn't even discuss anything with me neither. And no keys of anything, you didn't say anything to me.
All right, trustee, since that's the fact, next week we'll have on the agenda to reappoint new Parks and Recs.
Go ahead, all right, go ahead, son. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
By recommendation of the mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I would like to announce that we will be having our usual neighborhood watch meeting as we do the second Monday of every month at the fire station at 7 o'clock. We are in our full rehearsal for our play entitled Are You My Neighbor that we're going to be having on April the 15th at Rickover School at 6:30 p.m. We are having rehearsal every Saturday at the community center from 11 to 1:30. If anybody wants to be in the play, as I've been announcing since November, you are more than welcome to come and to audition. Saturday, we had 2 local ministers, 2 local pastors that came, and we had a wonderful rehearsal. We had a good time. I was bullied not to go. I was threatened not to go to the community center. I received text messages that there was going to be something going on at the community center. For the last 2 Saturdays, when I got there was absolutely nothing going on at all. I'm not going to get into that rhetoric back and forth. I'm going to give my report. I will be making a full statement at another time in another arena. In regards to Popeye's Chicken, Ms. Devonda Cornelius is here on the front row with her son, Devin Isaiah. I was there as a private citizen. We were attempting to eat when she had a situation with her son's food. When I heard a particular statement that was made, I went around from sitting at the dining room table to the counter to listen to the conversation, basically to hear. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. When I made my statements, at no time did I ever threaten Popeyes. At no time did I ever threaten to shut down the restaurant. At no time did I ever use profanity. At no time did I ever threaten any of the employees. I am not a person that have to sit here and make up lies, but because I'm a person of integrity, and if they felt some kind of way, I am also a commissioner for the village of Sauk Village. I went to my commission and I brought the incident up to them at our regularly scheduled meeting, and the commission as a whole said, but you should bring them to the Human Relations Commission and we should talk about it. That's what the Human Relations Commission do. They bring unity and diversity to the community. I did not give Mr. Williams the letter that we discussed in the back. However, we went in the back to discuss personnel, but that was my own personal letter that I gave to the mayor, and I decided to CC the trustees because I wanted to. And I can tell whatever I'm going through as a personal resident to anybody I want to tell it to. I know the difference in Open Meeting Act and violating the Open Meeting Act. Second of all, I want to say to the residents, I thank you for all of the inboxes and phone calls and the messages in my mailbox at home, and it is okay. Everything, I am so good. Everything is fine. We're going to go on with the play. Here's a copy of the another example of the book bags that we do, the special ones that we do for the kids that do the raffles. The parents are excited. We did it last year. We made a pledge to pass out 250, and with the help of Trustee Myers, my co-chair, and my wonderful block club captains, we passed out 300 book bags full of supplies. And this year we have made a pledge to double that by passing out 500 book bags filled with supplies. We also have letters in the back if you would like to help us by getting donations. You can either ask for monetary donations. They can make the checks out to Sauk Village as they always have, because I don't count no money. We have tag days, and we all come in from tag days on my own to show transparency. I have given trustees an account of what I raise on tag day. What we did in the morning, what we did in the afternoon. I have nothing to hide. Neighborhood Watch is very transparent. How much we raise, I've given that a total also publicly, but there are committees that raise money, got their own bank accounts, and do all kinds of stuff. They don't report to me what they do and how they do it and how they collect their money. So I want to say to all of the block club captains that did come out tonight and those that couldn't make it, you are a hard-working committee, and as your chair, and I sure I can speak for Trustee Myers, we appreciate all the work that you guys are doing, even with the play. And don't worry about it. The play will be wonderful, and I appreciate all of your cooperation. And that concludes my report.
Trustee Myers.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Couple items. First of all, I have to go back to Ms. Washington's report about the play. We didn't single out people and ask them. We asked the entire town, anybody that wanted to come out and be in the parade. Basically, it was a way to get people out and learn about your neighbors. And it was a dynamite written play. It's going to be fun. People are going to learn a lot of stuff on it, and it's going to be. And we didn't single people out. We asked the whole entire town. Second thing is, I came down there last Thursday to have a ordinance review committee meeting, and unfortunately, my people was all out sick with the flu. However, I was able, and I asked if I could sit in trustee Tate's committee. Well, it was a dynamite meeting. There was an awful lot of discussion came on, but there's one thing out of the whole meeting that really bothered me is nothing what trustee Tate's did anything, but I found out about the school board, of course I'm going to ask, that our kids in the 8th grade was, tell me what the figures again, below average? We're number 14, that they can't even read at the level of 8th grade, right? And that really disturbs me, and I'm planning to go to the school board and find out what's going on. These are our schools, these are our kids, these are our young adults that go to these schools. Well, we should get up and go to the school board and find out what's going on. Our children or our young adults should be, if they're in 8th grade, should be 8th grade level or more, not below that. That really bothered me. But again, it was a very good meeting. I enjoyed it. And the other thing is, I want to thank the residents, and God excuse me for not knowing their name. Other night we had a house fire over at Jeffrey, and it was well below zero, and we had about 5.5 hours out there, and these residents spared the cold. They came out off of the firefighters out there with coffee to help warm them up a little bit. And I want to thank you. If you're in the audience, thank you. If not, I'll make sure that gets in the talk to the residents. But that's what it's all about. Neighbors sharing neighbors, helping each other, everything. And Mr. Mayor, that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Just in light of comments that have been raised by members of the audience today, and in light of activities that have happened at this table here, I would like for the ordinance review committee to review the ethics ordinance that we have. I know we talked about it in our ordinance review committee here for a short amount of time, because it wasn't on our agenda to discuss. But I think it needs to be reviewed. I know that we asked if it was possible to get a forum in which the board could review, discuss, talk about some of the tension, some of the problems that we're having as a board. And we were told that that's not personnel, so we can discuss it in executive session, and that there's really no format to have that happen. But I think obviously there are some definite problems. We're going to disagree on things. We're going to, policy, things like that. But there are roots of problems that need to be solved. And I would like to see if maybe, as a committee, we can review how that can happen, if there's a format, what we can do. So we can look at that and have we can look at it as a standard. And as far as you mentioned the 8th graders, I know that I stated right here, anybody who wants to be a part of the student government day judging for their essays, if you want to know how after 8th graders in this village are reading and writing, read their essays for student government. We've gone to school board as a committee. This will be my 10th year doing student government day, and it's gone. You get one of two types of essays. You get one that is, you can tell that the student has actually written themselves because it's full of grammatical errors, or you can get a group of essays that you literally think the teacher wrote because they're the exact same words, the exact same topic, in the exact same paragraph. There's no information. So I agree with you. I don't know if as a community you guys are looking to address that, but I think it's something that needs to be addressed because they leave us, they go to high school, and
They're our future.
I mean, it's not good. So yes, you're right. For 10 years, I've read what the careers are. And I hope, and I encourage you, if you're trying to take that something that you're looking at, I encourage you.
No, it's not something I'm looking at. If anyone's attended the student government programs for the last several years, you have different types of students who are there. And yes, you can tell who wrote the essay and who did not. Maybe the parents or someone else wrote before them. I think it's a disadvantage for our children on display as part of student government if they cannot read the material. I'm not blaming you for that. I'm saying it's just improper for us to do that and we perpetuate it. If that's the school district issue, if the children cannot read and write, that belongs to the school district. That has nothing to do with us. But I think when you incorporate them into what you're doing, I think it puts them on display. And to me, it's embarrassing. They're not my children, but I feel embarrassed for them because they're stuttering and they have no idea what the words are. To me, it's an embarrassment to have them displayed. And it's a display.
And those are the winners. Those are the top of the top. And
there's something wrong with that. There's something wrong. What I've seen the last couple of times is the cream of the crop, which is hard for me to believe because when I attend graduation, I see the valedictorians, salutatorians, and they do just well.
they're usually the winners. Those are the way the race goes out. But we always offer any trustee that wants to be part of the judging process, we offer to residents, we offer to department heads, anybody who would like to be part of that. We're not at that point yet, obviously, because it's not too much of a So, again, it's open invitation, anybody who would like to be part of it, let me know, the process.
What about the students in Columbia?
I'm sorry.
The students in Stager that's in Columbia, junior. Is that Deer Creek?
Yeah.
From our subdivision. There's students who live in Sauk Village but went to the school outside of Sauk Village.
We offered in the past couple of years the opportunity that if they were in Sauk Village or if they're students who were not attached to Sauk Village schools, they have the opportunity to pick up a packet here to become a part of it. We haven't had one person ever heard of it. But it is offered. And it's been on the website, it's been last, there's 5 hours, things like that. But this is an announcement, but we offer that opportunity.
Okay, and I just raised that question because it was asked of me about a parent whose child does not attend District 168, but they live here. So I think we should be inclusive and grab all of our young people. They live in Sauk Village.
And that's something that we've done for a long time. Dr. Really discussing more some of the topics and the tactics of writing and talking to the school. Yes, that is something that we've done for the last 4 years, I believe.
All righty. I got a bunch of lists here. I'm just going to go through these real quick. First of all, to answer the question, and we got the business owner in the back still. So, just want to let the residents know, I let the board of trustees know last week. As we get complaints for trustees, there's nothing as a mayor that I can really do. Okay. If you look at, oh, hang on, listen. There is. First of all, you need to understand your municipal government. It's just like you would if you would look at your federal government. You've got 3 branches of government, right? I'm sitting in the executive branch. They're sitting in the legislative branch. Okay. I can scold them. I can bring them out in the public and make them look bad. But in fact, there's another thing to do. Okay, and I have directed J.W. Fairman to take all complaints and turn them over to a proper authority that handles complaints against elected officials. He was directed to turn everything over to the FBI. Currently, we've got 4 trustees that have complaints against them. All 4 of those complaints have been turned over to the FBI. Just so this board understands, you know, as we get the complaints, we turn them over. There's a complaint, now, please. As the complaints come across, we're going to turn these complaints over to the proper authorities. We're going to let them do the investigations. There is no internal investigation that's going to happen inside this village. I'm not going to do an investigation against trustee because someone's going to say that I'm too lenient on them because I like them, or I'm too rough on them because I don't like them. Okay? We're turning it over to an outside organization, or to an outside agency, and that outside agency is the FBI. And we take every complaint seriously. Currently, right now, we have complaints against Trustee Washington, Trustee Jones, Trustee Tate, and Trustee Burgess. Okay? Those have been turned over. Okay? So there's what we can tell you is the steps that we've taken. Okay? They can do the investigation. They can find out if they're legit or if they're not legit. Okay? So no, I don't have copies of letters. Next thing we're going to talk about is the.
Nobody gets copies of letters.
We take whatever complaints we get and we just turn it over and they can do the investigation. So, all right, next. Okay, next, the budget. As we are approaching the end of this month, is the end of the third quarter. Mohan will be taking all the information and we'll start projecting where we think we're going to be in the fourth quarter. We'll be coming back to the board. I'll be going back to the finance committee to go over the findings and stuff that we have. When it comes to the budget, here's right now our timeline for the budget is the department heads have to the end of the week to have all their information into Mohan. Mohan's gathering all that information. And hopefully by next week, I should be able to have a rough draft. I will take the rough draft because, as everyone knows, the budget is a recommendation from the mayor's office that goes to the board. I will go through that. I will sit down. I will meet with department heads because I'm sure, like every year, there's always additional cuts that have to be made. Last year's budget was on a worst-case scenario, if you remember, based on we knew we had a new governor and based off the allegations or what we were hearing that he was going to do. So we did a worst-case scenario. This year, we're going to probably go into another worst-case scenario because, as we all know, in Springfield, there's still no budget. And they have no budget passed. We don't know what's going to be happening in Springfield. We don't know as a village what funds are coming across. And one thing that was brought up was about the pension, right? A law that was passed in like 1968, something that has increased every year. It was an unfunded mandate passed down to municipalities. Sauk Village is not the only municipality that has a problem with pensions. This is a statewide issue. This is, if you go to your if you go to your state level, you know, you can find out how many billion they're behind at the state level on the pensions. When it comes to Sauk Village, there is issues that we're looking at because starting this year, your police and fire pension boards can start taking a percentage of the revenue coming in, okay? When we look at the budget, we're going to take that into consideration. How does that affect you as residents? It's going to affect you because it's going to be cutting of services. It may consist of letting employees go. Again, we have to understand how it's going to affect the village. I'm working with Southborough mayors and managers. I'm working with our state representatives down in Springfield so that we can get a better idea on the budgets. We're looking at reports that are coming out that are provided through IML, other reports that come out through the mayor's caucus to see how it's going to affect Sauk Village this next year. So as we get this information, I'll present to the Budget and Finance Committee, hopefully right around the end of February, the beginning of March, a recommendation from the Mayor's office. And then we'll have the Finance Committee review it. And then we're looking hopefully by the end of March, beginning of April, to start going over and reviewing the budget as a board. So that's our current timeline. That timeline may adjust a little bit, but I think as of right now, you know, it's a doable timeline. When everyone that came up tonight, and again, I take your comments serious, but I think what concerns me is, you know, I heard a lot of people who are misled and misinformed. If you go through this, think about this. demand, police and public works to stop working overtime. Police officers out there protecting your streets, you have to be glad that they're out there. This last year, we discussed it as a board, we approved overtime for public works. Why? Because some of the complaints that you have on here, street lights, fire hydrants, water main breaks. Look around, you don't see very many water main breaks. Our water main breaks are down because of all the work that we put into them. Your street lights, by the first quarter of next year, Sauk Village will have brand new street lights, our street lights in the entire village. I mean, people don't notice the public works out there changing those lights. We went to an energy efficient light, not only to better light the streets, but also to be a cost savings to the village residents. I mean, we can nitpick this thing apart. I mean, talking about reports that you want to see that are online, collectors' reports, accounts payables. This is all information that's provided to the residents that is online and has been online since 2009. If you go to the village website, you can go to the village website and find it. Okay? I was nice enough to listen to people talk. Okay, this is the mayor's portion here. So, some of the things that's on here, we have to abide by state statute. And some things on here is going over and above state statute. Okay? Again, we can go right through here, waive open bid process, stop waiving it. Well, we just got a fire truck. You talk, someone has on here that over $12,000 for electric sweeping. We didn't even pay nothing close to $12,000. Again, what ends up happening is people is misled. They're providing the wrong information. And they're not providing factual, they're not providing factual information. And they listen to, people who misinform. And people, I mean, I think you can see when someone disrupts a meeting, when someone disrupts a meeting, they're trying to make sure the truth does not get out. So, but again, and as you can see, that a lot of things happen tonight. You can act childish, or you can sit there and you can take it in, you can listen. And I think tonight I try to be very respectful. I listen to everyone. I've got discipline. I'll go through it. But, when we, I'm going to say right now, tonight what I heard was some strong statements, but they were allegations. There's no proof. Someone said up there about me using the village funds as my own piggy bank. That's not only an allegation that's untrue, it's also a lie. And it's also slanderous. So, question about resigning, it's not going to happen. And I'll tell you why. Because when I was elected, I said I would make the tough decisions. Tough decisions are not always right. Tough decisions to try to make sure that this village continues to run is tough. No matter, it comes with a position. This position is the highest position in the municipality. I mean, how many people can say that the governor we currently have is liked? Not too many people. We hear about our own president of the United States that people are constantly bashing him. It comes with a position, no matter what you do in a position like this, you're not going to be liked. There's going to be people that's going to be against what you have to say. All I got to say is, go out there and reach out there and get the information and find out. Talk about transparency. We're putting out the department's reports. We're putting out the information, for the residents. Talk about FOIA requests and talk about lawyer fees. Our lawyers' costs are up because of litigation against the village. Our lawyer fees are up because of people filing FOIAs, and you can talk about, there's a state statute that allows the village to charge people for those FOIAs so that we can reimburse and be able to pay our employees. Or you would have people that would continue filing FOIAs and you would be the one that would pay the cost. So there is things in place, all right? And even though someone wants to disrupt the meeting and be out of order, the reason they do stuff like that is so you cannot hear the truth. All right?
No, that's not why.
So,
I want the truth, and I want.
So, again, we'll go through this again and we'll look at it. But the information's available, the information's out there, and there's a lot of, I'll just say, there's a lot of lies in here. There's a lot of partial truths. And what it is people put things like this in writing to try to get people riled up. And all I got to say is look and find out the truth. That's what's important. All right? With that said, ask for a motion to adjourn. Yeah, motion. You got a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.